every single video has been made with this cell phone, an iPhone 11. This is 1 billion views right here. And it's through the TikTok editing software, barely can edit myself.
Wow. Today I have a very special guest joining us, someone who has been making waves in the world of content creation and media entrepreneurship for the past few years. Please give a very warm welcome to my friend Charles Peralo. Charles has achieved incredible success on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Before diving into the world of content creation, Charles had an extensive experience in startups and social media growth. He worked with businesses to amass 10 million followers across Instagram and Facebook and founded his successful consulting company, aptly named Stop Scrolling. Today, I am thrilled to be working with Charles and help him navigate his journey to the next level. With so much success already under his belt, the question becomes, where does he go from here? Together, we started exploring how Charles can expand beyond short-form content and continue to establish his brand at Peralo.com. Charles, thanks for coming on the channel.
No problem, Andy. Welcome. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So for those that have not seen we're not one of your 1.6 billion views over the past 30 days. Talk to us a little bit about what you've been working on recently.
All right. Well, I'm a YouTuber and TikToker that focuses on short form content. And the way it started was I was kind of like bored during COVID. I was writing these sort of weird essays not weird, like business essays on Facebook. Some friends of mine were like, you should try turning these into TikTok videos. Yeah. Did that. Views kind of went okay. And then what happened was there was a post I made about the financials of Adam Sandler movies, like why they're, because it was like, he had a 31% average score on Rotten Tomatoes, and comparing that M. Night Shyamalan, who gets, a lot of bashing, is a 66%. So it's like he's over twice, but, it was like how cheap they are to make. So I did that video second week of January in 2021. Didn't expect anything of it because my previous video got 8 likes in 2 hours, which was a nightmare. 2 hours later, I checked my phone, it's at 130,000 views, and that ends up 3 million views. I'm like, okay, there's something to the celebrity stuff. 2 days later, video on Keanu Reeves, 3 million. So focused a lot on the celebrity stuff, have had, want to say, 800 million views on TikTok and 680 million on YouTube. And yeah, been just focused on the short form content and growing from there.
Yeah. When you think about so many people that are out trying to do short form content.
Sure.
What do you feel like is the biggest mistake somebody makes when they first jump in?
I think the biggest mistake that people are making is they don't realize the value of the second, and they also don't really try to have a hook. Like a lot of content creators and a lot of brands, they're trying to do what everyone else is doing, mix their stuff with music and so on, and they don't realize the simplicity of just like, that open in second. Like with me, with every video, like, the most important thing I'm thinking of is what is the first image going to be? What is the title? What am I going to say? Yeah. And if it sucks, there's no views. But if it's good, it's going to get 1 million views.
Yeah. What about what you've done previously, which I want to hear a little bit more about kind of the way you tell your story, leading up to now? Like what past experience do you think was really the most valuable in the success that you've had over the past couple of years?
So everything I've done has always been social media. Like I'm 28, so I kind of in high school was during the beginning of the Facebook, time. And during high school, I'd build Facebook pages for fun, all the time. And it was kind of cool. I'd be 15 years old. I'd be bragging, I got 5,000 followers on this page. And it was a lot of fun. And then, kind of stopped doing that to do more traditional startup stuff, but was always more interested in the social media side. Yeah. So then I had, a political page that went, viral with being libertarian on that website. We did that for about a year. And then after that, I didn't want to do politics again, but I was like, it was really fun building up an audience and, being able to do these interviews and so on. What if we could do this with food, with fitness, with sports or whatever? And that started Stop Scrolling. And at that point, we were looking at Instagram. So we started acquiring a bunch of pages and building pages through Instagram in, a variety of niches, yeah. Got 5, 10 million followers across the board in different things. Okay. But that business actually didn't work. People thought that, 1 million followers is awesome. And it was cool to show people at a bar, oh, got 1 million followers on this food page or whatever. But the problem was there was no personality to it. It was mainly just commodity stuff, and it was, reposting content actually. So when we tried to, do original stuff, it didn't work. Okay. So, and then there was kind of running some other people's accounts, trying to do that, the whole process. But then eventually this came along and worked out a lot better.
Yeah. When you think about the eyeballs that you command on a given day, yeah. Right? You showed me earlier, the millions of views in the past couple hours, right? What does it feel like to have that power?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that you don't really know. It's a weird thing. It was like at first when I started doing it, like people would like some people who were like friends with my siblings or whatever. I was like, I think is this your brother, right? Yeah. And then like it got a little more common. And then I remember the first time I was ever recognized. Like I was at a bar in Newburgh, New York, and a group of girls came up to me saying, "Are you the guy from TikTok and YouTube?" And like now it's come kind of like a weekly thing. But what is it like? I think it's the community page is more of an interesting thing because that's like direct opinions where it's like, you know, I can do a poll on something and ask a question, and that in some cases have broken 1 million votes, and it took 30 seconds to do. Same for quizzes and so on. You know, have I felt like a real, you know, power from it yet? No, I think we got to still kind of get to that next level though. Like I think for the video side, I think longer form content would really be where that, you know, comes in. I think right now it's more just cool to see something go viral though.
So if maybe a better question would be, how would you define power in the future?
Through social media, I'd say, I got to look at like Mr. Beast and Logan Paul as the example of that. Like, you know, let's take the Prime drink, which I'm seeing in almost every store. Yeah. Logan Paul did that. And his brand is more relevant to people, I'd say, under the age of 25, 30 than Gatorade or Powerade is. Right. And it's a good product too. Like it actually tastes pretty good. Okay. But like the guy, like, you know, if Logan Paul was not a YouTuber, it would not be selling anywhere. I mean, it would be just another one of the 5,000 drink startups. So that's what I'd say like power is when it's like, you know, you can do more of a commodity style product where you're not reinventing the wheel and get 1 million customers, or in his case, 50 million. But
yeah,
there you go.
For you, what would that product be?
Well, if I were to do a product, like I think that there's a thing, I'd have to be a little bit further along right now. I have a lot of ideas for, you know, some consumer goods. Okay. I would say that it would be, you know, right now, I'm going to keep it simple for something that I am kind of, you know, actually just started recently working on, which is Peralo.com. So I've been doing a lot of writing for a while, own the domain, had the site, but never really, you know, felt the need because there's too many news sites. Quizzes through the community pages on YouTube are what I'm really known for. Okay. So I had the idea recently to do a news site where instead of trying to just do the traditional thing where you read the article, we try to tell the story through quizzes. So it's like, you know, like a better way to engage people and also teach people through that process, quizzes and polls, show scores, because, you know, I was looking at BuzzFeed, you know, when they were doing news, 80-90% of their traffic was quizzes, not the actual news. Sure. And, you know, what I'm kind of saying, like all their quizzes were, what Hogwarts house are you? Why not try to actually make those more educational? So that's an idea I'm trying to push out. And I think with what I have, you know, like with a project I worked on like 5 years ago, there was a coder who was like, you know, I was interviewing him, but it became him interviewing me to see that. And he was like, well, who's your first customer? Right. And, you know, that question always kind of sticks with me. And I'm like, in this case, I definitely know my first 10,000 customers. It's the sure. YouTube audience. Like I know where the first people come from. So that's what I said the next venture.
Yeah. With Stop Scrolling, which was, I guess, which you have run some of this underneath, and then now with Peralo.com. How big is your team?
My team right now, so it depends on what we're doing. Like my highest revenue thing is Snapchat. So Snapchat, we have shows that are higher produced than what I'm known for on YouTube and TikTok. It's my content narrated, but it is better edited stuff. So that we have 5 people who are spread out that are editors. So I got the first show last year. I can't say the exact revenue numbers, you know, NDA, so on, but it's enough that we can afford a team. Right. Then when it comes to actually what I do on YouTube and TikTok, 100% just me. That like, every single video has been made with this cell phone, an iPhone 11. This is 1 billion views right here. And it's through the TikTok editing software, you know, barely can edit myself.
Wow. And you drop it in and it edits it, and then you just press publish?
Yeah, just I just do like the green screen effect. Somehow, you know, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, man, that actually worked.
Yeah. What would it look like to scale that? Like, are you scalable?
Scaling the short form content as it is now? So that's a tough one because YouTube Shorts and TikTok don't pay extremely well. Okay. Like, I mean, Snapchat, I'll just, you know, once again, can't say the exact numbers, but I probably make 8 or 9 times off that what I make on TikTok and YouTube combined. Okay. And there are some sponsorships. I've had Showtime, Pixar, Domino's, but, you know, those are kind of like once every other 3 months. Those are not that consistent. To scale like being a talking head on social media, I've joked around that, you know, maybe I need to create an AI replica of me and then just have like 100 videos come out a day doing it. Right. I've said, you know, getting a team like kind of doing now this type videos, but I'm not sure how well that'll work. That's been kind of done. Yeah. So I don't know how scalable that is. I think it's more about getting to the next level where it's longer form content. Sure. it's something unique. It's something, and it's telling a story in a different way versus what I do it now. Like right now, I see 1 billion views on YouTube as very likely in the next 6 months. I see 1 million subscribers as likely, but to get to that level where this is like, and the way I kind of see this for content creators is this, going from 0 to 10,000, I feel is almost like trying to find a hobby. Going from 10,000 to 100,000 is going from a hobby to a job. And then, going from, 100,000 to 1 million, at the 1 million mark, you should really be doing this full time, making some pretty good money. But then going from 1 million to 10 million is when you're going from a person to a company. And I think that's like a transition a lot of YouTubers, a lot of content creators are trying to do. Yeah. And then after 10 million, you go from a company to an institution. Like, that's where we're in the Logan Paul, the Mr. Beast range. It's just unreal.
Yeah. You cross 1 million users in the next 12 months?
Yeah, I'd say that's likely.
Okay. And you go from being a person to being a company.
Yeah.
What does your company stand for?
I would like so I always, for me, it's like, because I had a political background, so slogans are a big thing for me.
Sure.
Creating conversations, Peralo creating conversations, that's what I've said on for a while.
Okay. What does that mean in the noisy world we live in today?
So I'd actually go to the community page, like on YouTube, and also the shorts as well, and so on. Everything that like I view, what I've done is in a very short amount of time, make a piece of content that, for good or bad, could create tens of thousands of comments. Like there was one video I did early on, which was about Harriet Tubman being made the face of the $20 bill, which I hope that happens. That still's not happened, but it's supposed to. That video hit 800,000 views, but there was one comment thread between 3 people on TikTok where they individually, with just these 3 people, went for 800 different comments. And these people did it for 2 months. I checked, like 2 months they were arguing on TikTok, which, maybe it's not great to create an argument, but you create a conversation in that. So that's what I'd say the goal is to be about. So if it's pop culture, if it's business, whatever, we're starting something.
Yeah. You mentioned long form content.
Yeah.
Would it be you doing long form content, or would it be an interview style show? How are you thinking about the future of long form?
I've done interviews. I like interviews. I feel like it has to be something different than that. Like, I would almost like to see, like I was thinking, because obviously celebrity and pop culture has sold. Like I was almost thinking like, could there be a show where I try to actually meet these people in person and we turn into like a documentary about the person, and then we do like kind of weird things to meet them, like, go up to like Robert Pattinson and just hand him a pencil and just be like, hey, thanks for being on that. And then there's like a whole 5-minute video of what it took to find out where he was going to be. Yeah. And then like, make that. I actually am trying to do that with Mr. Beast right now. Okay. His main editor went viral because of me actually once. And in a Mr. Beast video, he said, anyone who delivers 50,000 cookies to my charity, I'll appear in their video. So I called up the editor, I actually called up a cookie co-packer, and they said, I can get you for $3,000, 50,000 cookies. And I'm holding them up to that. I'm like, so if I show up there in like North Carolina with a truck with 50,000 cookies, will he appear? And they're like, probably just have to be there when he's here. And I'm like, $3,000 to get that guy in a video is actually really worth it. Like that's incredible. Yeah, that's it. And I feel like they're gonna regret that, where it's like because he did that 2 years ago, but I'm like, hey, he said it, not me.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, he's coming for you.
Yeah.
So, have you read this book? Have you seen this book?
I've not seen this book.
All right, Rick Rubin.
Okay.
The famous producer, Jay-Z, Linkin Park, Adele.
Okay.
Fascinating book, and it talks about the creative process for a lot of different people and the way in which they all do it completely differently. Some people like to write with the TV on. Some people write by themselves. Some people write in a group. Some people play, they play the first few notes themselves and then they hand it off to the rest of the team. What's your creative process for the videos that you do? There's a recipe to them, but is there a creative process to them?
So I would say every piece of content has a little bit of a different element to it. So like, let's take a community post on YouTube, which is more of an essay. I think that's kind of curiosity. That's like, okay, I'm writing one about why The Flash failed. That's like kind of doing research about why the numbers on that movie aren't good, and figuring out factors, like comparing it to other movies. For doing the short form content, it really is figuring out what I think is going to go viral. That's more of like, I think, opportunity versus, just like a passion. And the polls and quizzes, it's sort of just like, a lot of the times it's like with the polls, it's like, I want to see what people are thinking here. Like, I don't know necessarily how people are going to answer this.
Right.
And then also, for the quizzes, most of the time I don't know the answer. So it's kind of questions like, hey, what bird does fly the highest? What is the most common kind of cancer? And then you just, you learn a little bit, and it's a fun process to do.
Yeah. Is there a burning question that you have not had time to try and answer?
Oh God, I feel like I've been meaning to write a book called The Cult of Easy Money, talking about how there's, a lot of, I think, scams going on with like the crypto and so on, like what it all boils down to. And I think the big question is why people continue to get sucked into stuff they're probably not going to win at. I think that would be a big question for me. But I still, that's a loaded question. I got to think about that a little more.
Do you have a favorite easy money scam?
Do I have a favorite easy money scam?
Like one that you just think is just the most fascinating one that you've ever paid attention to?
I would actually say lottery tickets, just because that's something where like people, because I've written about lottery tickets and how, hey, you're going to lose money and like, ways to kind of fix it and make it better. And there are some people who just get really defensive of them saying, they're like, oh, I spend money, but it's a big, what's the big deal? I'm like, how much money do you spend? I'm like, $10 a week. I'm like, $500 a year, and you're not going to win $5,000 over 10 years. It's like, that's all good for you. It's like, it's like what I do. And I'm like so that's the thing where it's like, at least with like, I feel like, because I'm not a fan of crypto, like I feel like with the crypto stuff, it's like, you can kind of make an excuse in your head why this thing could be a big deal. Sure. Penny stock, you're like, I could see this company making it one day. Yeah. But this is like just hey, I did a scratch off, I burnt money, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. When you're not making content, what's keeping you busy?
I love working out. Love fitness. I love writing, where like I actually do have a dream to like do fictional content. Like, like if I were to see like, the Peralo company or whatever in 10 years, I'd like to say like we made a movie. And I'd like to see like, like I also think with YouTube, like I look at like, Darman or Jaden Animations, yeah. And I feel like YouTube is too much right now reality TV. I think that we need to actually see YouTubers try to go for scripted content as well. Yeah. And I think that could be like, I think the next Simpsons or the next Family Guy or the next Friends could happen from YouTubers. And if that's the case, it's like, people can actually own their own, like, because, none of these guys who made it, they own it. In YouTube, I think that could be the real future there.
Where do you find inspiration right now for all of the different things that you're working on? Because there's somewhat of a through line, but there's also a lot of different things a lot of different balls you're keeping in the air at the same time. How do you manage the moment of inspiration when it's like, oh, this is what I should do next?
I think I'm still trying to figure that out. So like right now, it's like, every morning I get up at 6 a.m., I do videos, I try to get 4 videos done. Every night, it's like, probably about like after dinner or whatever, I'll do the schedule for the community page, do writing, do quizzes, do polls. So, and then, 2 days a week, it's just, Snapchat. So that's like hours writing scripts, doing the voiceovers, sending it over to the guys, and, doing that. So there is trying to keep that balance of but there's more hours that I could be working, and I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is the best use of time here? Is it something like Peralo.com potentially? Is it, trying to expand, stop scrolling, and, make more money? Is it just doing a little bit of all? Still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. How do you weight those things in your head?
Oh man, that's like, it's there. Honestly, I think I need to get better at that. Like I weight them, but then like I don't like there's what is needed, which is the current stuff that's working. Yep. And that's more like, I look at YouTube, I'm like, I know the trajectory there. Right. I look at Snapchat, I'm saying, okay, we have 3 shows, we can get 10. I know what those can make. I know how to do it. But then there's like, trying to start something new, which I think, I'm not sure if it was his Elon Musk line or he just said it once. It's like, it's chewing on glass and staring into the abyss. Yes. That's kind of, that is what it's like. Like, it's like, because, I do think about like, new projects, and I'm like, okay, a lot of ideas, but what's going to work best, and, how do you really, because you can't do them all.
Right. Something that a lot of people that are in the creator space that I've spoken with struggle with is they're solopreneurs at the end of the day. They might have a team and they might have some people that they collaborate with, but Logan Paul was able to hire all of his friends eventually, right? But how do you think about the interactions that you have with other creators as well as eventually like growing a team? Like right now to then what needs to happen from your point of view as a leader for you to step up into going from, as you said, from being a person between 100,000 and 1 million to being a company?
So for the relationship with other creators, I want to say most content creators actually really do get along. Like, I've, seen the startup space before. Some founders, have a little bit of like, I think kind of ice between each other. Most content creators, like, there's sometimes where like, some people who are not in that space, like, does it bother you, like you talk to your competition, sometimes even give advice on a story? Like, because I have group chats in where like, let's just say a certain celebrity is going viral. I'm like, or like a TV show is getting viral. I'm like, guys, you guys all need to push out content doing this. And, some people were like, hey, do you think that's a smart strategy to kind of just, do that? I'm like, there's enough out there for all of us. It's not going to stop. But regarding getting a team, that is a tougher process for sure. Because, I've learned a lot about like what it takes to find good people. And it's a hell process there. With Snapchat, I've been lucky where like, I had a producer come in who had a lot of experience and, he found my staff. But then, trying to go from one show that was making money to, doing pilots, I found a guy just through YouTube who's a subscriber who messaged me saying, hey, I'd love to help out sometime. Sure. And he was in Colorado, has done a great job. Yeah. And it was a little bit of a learning curve. The guy was fresh out of college, but, still completed it. We got 2 shows done through him that came through Snapchat's approval, and he did it.
It's amazing. So if somebody wants to track down some of the things that you've created, what's the best place to find you?
Definitely my YouTube channel, Charles Peralo, Instagram, Charles. I'm lucky I have a rare last name, so not a lot of people. So I got it's at Charles Peralo on everything, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find me somewhere.
And the show's on Snapchat?
Snapchat is Hollywood Explained, Junk Food, Behind the Screen. I was about to say Behind Your Screen, but so we got 3 shows there. Hollywood Explained has been the one that's actually, we're going on the 1-year anniversary of that. Okay. That show, honestly, on a financial level changed my life. Like that was the thing that really kind of, put this a couple levels up what it should be.
Dude, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Fun times. And we're out.
We're out.